we tend to have some people join a little bit later. We used to have about 12, 15 people on these every time we ran them, but it's slowed down since we switched over to just on Wednesdays. But today we are going to be discussing follow-up and best practices on that follow-up. And we're actually going to be looking specifically into KV Core so that we can showcase what EXP agents can do inside of their own platform to help master their follow-up process and generate more buyers and sellers from their current database that you're working with. So Sonia, go ahead, kick it off. Let me know, tell me about your level of comfortability with KV Core and what kinds of things you've set up in there so far.
I am a beginner.
Awesome.
So I was with another CRM, and probably a couple months ago, I transitioned everything over to KV Core, and I've gone through one training, so I'm just kind of stumbling through it.
Okay. Now, since you're just getting things up and running, I'm going to go out on a limb. Do you have any follow-up campaigns that you've loaded in that you're going to be using, or is that stuff that you haven't even looked at yet?
As far as campaigns are being sent out, so when I get a new lead, trying to engage a little bit, and sometimes I allow those to just continue until I get a bite, and once they respond, then I kick in and get a little bit more personable and try to get them on the phone. So I know I do have that. I used to have a holiday campaign going out on my old CRM. I don't know how to set it up in KV Core.
Okay.
I used to also have like a nurturing campaign. So for those people who, for whatever reason, have pushed it out a year or more, then, just little things, just checking on you, like a nurturing program that's not inundating them with a bunch of stuff every week. But I don't have that set up here. And I did have someone help me set up some other campaigns. Some of my seller leads, I have tried to set up like a market report thing. So I'm not really clear if it goes out monthly. I think you have your choice to set it up, and I try to do it every 28 days. I think that's the KV Core's max is 28 days. So I do that. And I'm still going through all of my leads that transitioned over to recategorize them and restructure them to make sure that they're still getting at least similar things that I had them set up before.
Some kind of contact, right?
Some kind of contact.
Now, when you think of follow-up, what does follow-up mean to you?
Keeping top of mind.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Basically, it doesn't always have to be business. It could always be something else. Hey, how you doing? Just checking on you. It's been hot a little lately. What's going on in your neck of the woods kind of thing, to anything that's business, to any events, any reason that I could connect with them and stay top of mind. And oh, by the way, after I engage, oh my gosh, do you know anybody who's looking for something? But, depends on the situation where the conversation goes, but just keeping top of mind on real estate events. But making a lot of friends too. So I don't want to keep it just business. I want to sway to the personal side and just checking on you. Was thinking about you, thought I'd reach out real quick and say, hey, and how you doing? Let me know how you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's great. I mean, one of the things that agents and salespeople in general typically do when they're following up is they keep it strictly business with all the follow-ups that they're making. So when you can personalize a message or send someone out to check in and touch base and see how someone's doing, that's something that can really shake things up because it's different from what everybody else is currently doing out there. Now, Are you sending these over text? Are you sending them via email, a combination of both? What's your primary means for that follow-up?
Well, I like to change it up. Um, I know in this kind of business you want to have a routine, but I always try to break the routine and have like some different ways of doing it. Sometimes it's an email, sometimes it's a text. I really enjoy doing video text to people, and it's kind of fun to I try to send out like 10 a day. But they're a lot of fun because I'll get video text back like, "Hey, it was so cool to see you. This is fun, glad you reached out and stuff and blah blah blah." So it just is kind of cool to just send a video text. And I kind of wish KV Core I could do that, because now I just created an extra step for me to do a video text and then go back into their account and make sure I notate that I sent a video text and whatever we talked about.
Are you doing those through BombBomb?
No, just through my own phone.
Okay.
I got it. So I have a Google Voice, and I don't even think that will allow me to do it either. I was doing it through BombBomb, but it just really wasn't working for me. It just added a third step for me to do it. So I just send it through my own.
Awesome. Well, so there is an integration with KV Core with BombBomb. So you can send those video messages through there. It is an additional service, and they do charge for the connection. I think it's about $40 a month. I'd have to look into it. It's been a little while since I've looked at it. It was 30 to $40 is what that cost was in order to do that, send that direct message with a video through your text in the platform. I love that you're doing that. It sounds like, since you're doing 10 a day, you're doing individual videos. You're actually going, looking up a client, you're reading through the notes. Awesome.
Yes.
So I'm going to go out on a limb.
So
and
it
say
does
you
take time.
Yeah, but you probably take really good notes on your contacts if you're able to go and pull up a video. Absolutely.
Right. Last time we talked, we were talking about, the water spots in your shower. Did you get my, recipe for a solution, and did that work? And, whatever it might be, something like that. And then I'll get something back, usually in a video text, going, "This is fun."
I absolutely love that. And so one of the things I coach on, and we push pretty frequently. And if you go back, we've done several live trainings on follow-up, and most of those are laid out with a slideshow presentation and do this, do this, do this, do this. So today I wanted to open it up for a discussion just so I could see what everybody else is doing and what's going on. I love that you're doing those video messages. I think that's absolutely amazing. Now, have you heard of the phrase LP Mama, or the acronym LP Mama?
No.
So essentially, if you're working with a buyer, you can use LP Mama to actually navigate your call and make sure that you gather all the pertinent information that you need before you go and show them a house or introduce them to a lender. So L in LP Mama is going to be for location. Is there any location that you picked out that you're looking for in a new home? Okay, what's the particular reason? Is this based off of a school district? Why do you want to be in that particular neighborhood or that location? So you can kind of peel the onion a little bit and get a little more information. The P is going to be price. So now I get it. You picked a location. I understand you want to make sure that you're in the best school district in the area. Have you started to do your research on how much home you can afford? Do you know what the price point is that you want to be within? So that's pertinent information that we need to gather when we're working with these folks. The next is going to be motivation, and this is my favorite. So it's the first M in Mama, LP Mama, and that's motivation. So what's driving you to make this move, right? So whether they're empty nesters and they've got kids moving out and they want to sell their house and get into a new property that's going to save them money because they don't need all the extra space, or whether they've got a newborn on the way, or they just got a puppy and he's really rowdy and they want a fenced-in backyard. Whatever that motivation is, I always say this is the most important aspect for you to take notes on, because when it comes time to follow up with that individual, when you get them on the phone, if you bring up that motivation or something that was a rapport builder that's personal to them right out of the gate, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to bring their shield down, and they're going to drop their guard, and they'll be open to having a more meaningful conversation with you. So I absolutely love that you're doing that. The
Mhm,
first
mhm.
A in mama is going to be agent. Am I wasting my time right now? Are you
Right,
currently working with an agent? And I like to ask it as, do you currently have a signed agreement with an agent? Because everybody knows a real estate agent, their
yes,
mom, their cousin, their brother-in-law, somebody in their family or within their local sphere is going to be an agent. There's so many of them out there, right? And so when you ask the question, do you have a signed agreement with an agent currently that you're working with? It's going to kind of stop them in their tracks, and you might not get that knee-jerk yes right out of the gate. So you
right,
know you're clear to continue on to the conversation. The second M is going to be mortgage. What have you done to get yourself pre-qualified? Do you know where you're at, and what do you have, a pre-qualification or a pre-approval letter? Are we able to start shopping right now? And if they don't, you know you need to connect them with a lender unless they're paying cash. And then the last A of mama is going to be appointment. So that's whether you're booking the appointment to meet with them at the house, whether you're booking the appointment to meet with your lender or get them over to a referral partner, however you're going to manage that particular client, you need to book an appointment at the end of that conversation, even if it's an appointment for a follow-up call because they were busy. So I love that you're taking notes, because that's something that I really preach to everybody. Make sure that you're taking notes on every single call that you have. Get the motivation out so that you can find those little rapport builders that you can use in the very next call. So if Timmy has a softball game or a t-ball game that they're going to, and that's why they had to get off the phone, in the video that you send out, hey, I just wanted to send my best. I hope Timmy's team ended up winning the big game that you guys were on the way to. But I wanted to chat with you regarding your home search and what you were looking for, and see how I can help you the best. Please feel free to
right.
reach out, right? So I absolutely love that. Now, we've got video text that you're doing. That's next level. I know Jim Neal does a lot of video stuff as well. He just joined the call recently. He shoots videos and does walkthroughs on all of his listings. He'll send out video text to potential clients as well. We always push that you should do that, because it's a great form of follow-up in today's day and age. How many phone calls would you say you make on average to each one of your leads?
Oh gosh. If I don't get him on the phone, I probably call him 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Um, until, until I kind of just move on. But when I'm calling them, I sometimes will call back to back. I'll call. If they don't answer, I hang up and I call back. Sometimes I'll get them to do that. I mean, I try all like my little tricks and stuff. But if they're just not, and then I'll follow up with a text message and say, last thing I want to do is bother you. I'm here to help. If there's anything I can do, please reach out or whatnot. And then I set a task to follow up again next month. So I just keep it going.
Awesome. Well, and that's about average. 3 to 4 calls is about what the average agent does as far as follow up with phone calls. There was another live training I did. It's probably 3 or 4 months ago now. Might even be longer than that. We're getting ready to have a baby, so time is flying. And I say we. My wife is getting ready to have a baby, our baby. So time is flying, and everything's getting a little nuts. But this live training that I did was covering a case study that MIT had done, and there was a secondary case study from Harvard Business Review. And these studies were all around phone follow-up, and it's primarily calling. And so one of the statistics that was in there that really stood out and rang true to me was that most sales reps, no matter what industry you are in, typically stop follow-up after 3 contact attempts. So 3 calls, follow-up ceases to exist at that point in time. But in this study, and it's a couple more calls now than it was then, because this was done back in 2017, pre-pandemic, before everything got hectic and crazy, right? But the case study showed that if you made 6 contact attempts, you attempted to call that lead 6 times over the course of a 2-week period, they actually saw a 90% answer rate and ability for you to at least start the conversation and get the communication rolling. So one thing that I would absolutely recommend, I think 3 or 4, you're doing okay. But if you double down and just double the number of calls that you're making to each and every one of those leads, you're going to see a massive increase as far as the number of folks that actually answer the phone. And that's going to be the absolute cream of the crop. Once you get them on the phone, you start having the conversation. That's where you can really start to peel the onion and find out as much as you can about them and what they're looking for. Now,
And that's within what period of time?
so it's within 2 weeks of generating that
2
need.
weeks. Okay.
Yeah, so make 6 contact attempts within that first week. I recommend calling 2 to 3 times in the first day. So if you get the lead in the morning, right,
Mhm.
give them a call as soon as you get the lead. Speed to lead is
Right.
extremely important. You want to call that lead within 2 minutes. I know agents are busy. You might not have the time to, but that's why we can help you set up some follow-up in the back end of your KV core. So we'll send a
Mhm.
text message out within that time frame, so you're getting some kind of communication out to them. We want
Right.
to call within 2 minutes. If it comes in the morning, call 2 minutes, then call sometime around lunch, and then I give them a call towards the end of the day. The following day, I'd make 1 or 2 touch points, and then make sure the rest of your 6 are over the course of the next week and a half, essentially. But that should
Okay.
massively increase the number of answers and conversations that you have with your leads. And then when you do get a lead, how quickly are you calling that lead?
Pretty much right away. Sometimes within the hour because I'm with somebody, but if I get a break, I mean, the second I get a chance, I call them.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. And that's definitely the way that it needs to be. As soon as you get that lead, as soon as you have the notification, you have time to make that call and reach directly out. It'll definitely set yourself up for having the best opportunity to convert and have that conversation with them.
Right.
Now, outside of calling, texting, and emailing, are you doing any other forms of follow-up with these leads?
Well, discussing all of their criteria and their needs, if they're buyers and stuff. So I get all of their alerts set up. And if I notice that there's a large number of homes being sent, I'll use that as an opportunity to call again and try to tighten up that criteria. What are their, can we narrow that criteria to get what they're really looking for and stuff. And sometimes that's when I really try to book the appointment at that time just to go over everything. So just for ease, and this way I usually do better when I meet them in person versus just over the phone or text. But that's another way, is just their alerts, and the lender, after they've said that yes, I do need a lender referral, please send somebody, and then I'm checking on that. Is there anything I can help you with on that? Did you have any questions? So I mean, I use every opportunity to communicate.
Awesome. And where are you primarily generating those leads from?
I have Z Buyer coming in. I have Express Offers, EXP, are sending those into KV Core, and then I have leads to ROI coming in. So some Facebook ads that are coming in. So I've got all of them that I'm trying to communicate, and a good half of them are like, nah, I was just looking to see, what this house was on the market for, or, I was just wondering, I'm not moving ever,
Well, a lot of those folks that come back saying, yeah, I was just wondering about this home or something along those lines, that might be a lead that you caught very early in the buying process.
Yes, I
So
do. I catch them.
definitely. And you're going to catch them early, especially if you're running Facebook ads. Right. So the way that Facebook's algorithm works is they pretty much track everything everywhere. Right.
Yep.
They know so much about every single one of us. It's actually scary, the amount of information that they have about us. They typically know what we're going to do before we do.
Right.
And so if somebody goes on Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com and they start searching for homes, and they're on that site for a period of time, Facebook's tracking them the entire time they're on that website. So if we were to run an ad and target, say, Zillow, for example, you very well are going to get your ad in front of folks that have recently started their search on Zillow. But the average home buyer takes 90 days worth of prep work before they want to reach out to an agent and get that conversation started. Now, when we capture that lead on Facebook, there's a reason that we put a very long follow-up campaign in place for those. And I'm sure it's already preloaded into your account. We can take a look at that here in a minute. But we put that long follow-up campaign in place because that buyer typically takes 90 days of research before reaching out or trying to contact or communicate with an agent. They reach out because they want that list of homes. And the way that we set it up with our IDX ads through EXP is we automate that home safe search alert for you. So that goes out to that lead as soon as they sign up, because we're capturing the beds and baths, the price range, and the time frame that they're looking to move. So we use the beds, baths, and the price range to then deliver within 15 minutes a list of homes that fit the bill for what they're looking for. So that's one major piece of the puzzle, and you've mentioned it, setting up those safe search alerts and the home alerts for what that individual may be looking for is going to absolutely set you above, head and shoulders above your competition, because most of the ads that are running out there on the market that say get your daily list of homes, it takes an agent on the back end to actually have to set that up. And I can tell you from experience, if we're looking at 10 agents in a room that are going to set up their own, there's only going to be one that's actually going to take the time to set that safe search alert up. So having it automated is a massive win because they get it very, very quickly. Now, another form of follow-up that we can think of. So if you are marketing folks and individuals on Facebook, one way that you could follow up without picking up a phone or doing anything along those lines would be by having a video ad in place that says something along the lines of, hey, I saw you recently clicked on my ad on Facebook and filled out a form giving me your information as to exactly what you're looking for in a home. I have been sending emails to you with home criteria, but I wanted to give you an opportunity. All you have to do is click the link below and send me a message on Facebook if you'd like to update any of your search criteria. Right, so now you're getting your face back in front of them, you're standing in front of them, and it's in a very non-invasive way, because they're scrolling through their phone, looking at funny cat videos, looking at all the goofy things that their friends are doing and what they've reposted. And then boom, they see you, the realtor that they had filled out the info for and provided it. And now you're just letting them know, hey, I want to make sure I'm getting the right homes in front of you. So
yes, I saw that, and I do want to do something like that. So definitely got to learn how to do that.
Absolutely. Well, and you said that you have a good amount of people that are in your database that you've loaded into KB Core. How many leads did you say you have in there?
Probably it's less than 1,000. It's probably 700 or 800.
Okay. Well, and so one of the things that you can do, and I can get you on support with our team to get this taken care of for you. But one of the things that we could do is we could actually download that list from KB Core, and we can import that directly into Facebook. Facebook already has the whole list, but they only go back 90 days if you capture that lead from Facebook. So we can re-import the list, and then we can start a targeting campaign with video messaging directly out to those folks that are currently in your database. Now, typically you'll run that for video views. We're not looking to generate a conversion or anything along those lines off of them. We've already captured the lead, but the goal of this is to keep you, as you said earlier, top of mind for that individual that's looking to make that purchase. Now, I'm curious, on the seller side, what are you doing right now to generate seller leads?
Mainly just express offers, cash offer requests, and sometimes the buyer comes in with seller leads. Otherwise, I'm just doing Facebook, content, Instagram content, wearing real estate shirts and going about my day. I have a t-shirt that says I'd rather be selling real estate. And so, I usually hand out my business cards and talk shop, or I have a mask that says talk real estate to me. So, just going out there, and sometimes if I'm dropping off a CMA, I will, walk the neighborhood and hit a few. If I see some of the neighbors out, I just talk to them. So I'm kind of doing a little of everything. It's just not a focus.
Are you geo farming any particular neighborhoods? Do you send postcards out to any of those seller leads that you get? Okay. Big thing with sellers. The most important thing you can do with a seller lead, once you capture it, is start them on a mailer, get them on a drip. So we ran a study when I was at Zillow. I used to work for Zillow. I worked there until 2018. And we were following the truly a seller leads that we were generating. And we got some complaints from agents about the quality of those contacts. What we found is when we were tracking the actual data over 2 years, almost 60% of those addresses that got submitted ended up listing their property inside of a 2-year window. So there's a
Wow.
direct correlation with somebody actually reaching out for their home valuation and hey, they're actually getting ready and thinking about selling their home and making a move. So the big thing that we put a focus on was sending out direct mailers. So agents would then set up a 24-month drip campaign and send out direct mailers to those folks with a different unique selling proposition in each one of the postcards, giving them an offer to work with you as an agent. And some of our agents even took gift baskets. I had this one guy that was super bold. He was down in Arkansas and he straight up got an address. He went to their house, knocked on their door, handed them a gift basket and his business card, said, hey, I know you're just looking for a home value. You just want to know what your home's worth. But what I would actually like to do is do a full CMA on your property and give you a real value on your home. Because a Zestimate or one of these estimates for your value can be anywhere from 20 at the time up to 40% off in certain marketplaces. And so he actually got his foot in the door and this guy started winning listings like gangbusters. Now, that is an expensive approach to take a gift basket and it takes a lot of time to each and every single one of those leads. But one of the things that I'd highly recommend is just set up a simple mailer campaign. There's a ton of different platforms out there. Like there's a platform that we recommend called Mailbox Power, and you can set up an automation. They've got a seller geo farm that's already pre-built. It will actually upload your logo, your contact info, everything onto it, and then it will pre-fill the contact info for whoever that seller is and get them started on a drip. But that's one form of follow-up that I think a lot of agents don't think about as actual follow-up. Because again, it's what you said was actually spot on.
No, it's good. It's just coming with the right, doing the right strategy. Otherwise, that cost becomes more costly when it's just, thrown out there, right? So, you've got to commit. And part of my problem is I've tried a couple of different like mailer systems and it's just so expensive. And I just don't have the right tools to make it a consistent, easy process.
How many
So,
postcards would you typically send out when you did that in the past?
a couple hundred. I mean, it's probably 300.
So would you send one, or so if you're sending out 300 mailers, would you send out that 300 and then send them another mailer in a month, or
Right.
okay, how many
Yeah.
times would you say you followed up with a piece of direct mail?
It was, I mean, pretty much once a month, unless, with the holidays, that's easy. It's geared towards the holiday. It's just, hey, I'm your neighbor. And by the way, I'm a realtor too, kind of thing. Just different stuff each month. But I was using different vendors. So the cost and the size and the ease and trying to add those addresses and just the management of the whole process is just like, I just want to sign contracts. Like I just want to meet people and sign contracts.
Well, that's exactly why we promote Mailbox Power, because it's one of those things that you set up an automation and they have a ton of pre-built campaigns that are in there. So there's a seller geo farm, there's a 9 mailer FSBO mailer that's built in, there's an expired mailer. And so you can set up your niche. As soon as you add a client to that, they just get hit on that drip. So the
Mhm.
FSBO, for example, every month for 9 months, they're going to get a different postcard. it's going to give them an option to reach out or work with you. And I feel that right now, I know that right now, FISBOs are going to be an awesome route to win listings because of the shift that we're experiencing in the market nationwide. Last
Right.
year, every FISBO could go and post their house for sale by owner, $50,000 over what their home was worth. And then their home would get a ton of bids and it would be bid up beyond that. And they'd be able to sell it on their own, no problem. Now, those for sale by owners don't really know where to price their home to be correct on the market. And they're hoping they can get that 50K over like they were able to last year. And so they're overpricing themselves right out of the gate. So those homes are sitting stale and stagnant on the market, just like the other homes that are out there and available on the local marketplace. And then they're starting to become a little discerned, right? They're going, oh crap, maybe I can't sell my home as easily as I could. Maybe I do need an agent. So I'm actually going to share my screen really quick and show you guys, or show you one thing. So this is based off of a for sale by owner mailbox power prospecting. This is from 2020 to 2021. And so the number of for sale by owners in this particular market that were contacted was 590. The total number of items that were mailed was 5,275, which breaks it down to about 8.9, let's just say 9 mailers per individual for sale by owner. This agent ended up spending $4,100 total on their mailer campaign throughout the course of the year from 2020 to 2021. And they spent almost $7 on average per FISBO that they mailed. There were 36 phone contacts, and of those 36 phone contacts, 24 of them resulted in listings. So with those 24, they saw a total of 11,900,000 in total volume. I have no idea what the percentage was, even if it was at 1%. That's what, 119,000 in gross commissionable income. But I calculated out at 3, and it was $357 in GCI if you're at the normal 6%, right? So that's a massive win that you can get from just doing that for sale by owner campaign and sending that out. And this was even during a time when home prices were going through the roof, and it was very, very difficult to win those for sale by owners. So right now, being with the shift in the market, I could definitely see a lot more changes coming from that. But the big thing when it comes to sending out direct mail, and it sounds like you were geo-farming an audience and you sent several mailers, you want to make sure that you consistently send that mailer out to them. And you got to do it at least 9 times. You're not going to, it's one of those things that and I don't know how many attempts you'd sent. I don't know if you did it for a year or 6 months, but it's one of those things that we have found that if you're not consistently sending that mailer out and you're geo-farming a specific neighborhood, for example, you need to hit those folks at least 9 to 12 times. I recommend at least a year on that. And it's a long-term play, very long-term play, but it works.
Is. And it's like I said, I ended up changing vendors and then having to, go back and forth on the artwork was just bogging me down. And so now I stopped dealing with it because I just didn't want, I'm like, just send it out. So, it became more of an issue. So then it just kind of stopped. And so it interrupted that consistency. And that's why I say, now it just became a problem for me instead of it being an easy process just to flow. So I've got to find myself just the right. I was using Wise Pelican and it took forever to manipulate. I mean, it was pretty easy, but it just was super slow for whatever reason and very, very tedious. And you had to drop the pictures in the right, like exactly the right place. Otherwise you had to keep doing it. And so it just took way longer than it needed to for me to do it myself. And so anyways, the list goes on and on and on. But yes, I agree. All those things are accurate. It's cost me more money to do it the way I've done it. So I have to find an easier, more predictable and you know, process of trying to get it done. So that's for that reason I haven't been able to accomplish what I want.
I kind of feel that this platform would make life really easy for you. They have a handful of automations that are pre-built, like I was saying. So expired, we've got a buyer geo farm. We can send this out to renters, and this platform also gives you the ability to download data. So you could say, hey, I'm looking for someone who's been renting for 2 years that has a 700 or higher credit score, that's earning $100,000 or more. It will create that list. You go in and buy the number of them that you want, and you can pick your geographical targeted area, go and buy the number that you want, and you can add them into an automation. So several different types. So there's FSBO, expired, buyer, and then we've got the seller geo farm that's built in. And I'm actually going to spell this right, but I want to show you
So
what
is there
this looks
a
like.
membership that you have to pay for, or is it free to go in there? You just have to pay for the mailers.
So we can get you set up with a trial on it, but there is a monthly membership that is involved. They just increased their pricing to $79 a month, but I believe they may be bringing that back down. Let me have a couple more conversations with them, and then I'll reach back out to you. But let's take a look at just the shipment on this. So this is 5 mailers that get sent out right out of the gate for that seller geo farm. And if we want to edit a card, all we do is click on edit shipment. And then we can actually go in and we can edit that particular card manually. Give me 1 second. This isn't actually showcasing what it should. It didn't load right. So let me look at this FSBO domination really fast. Okay, here we go. So this will be what the FSBO cards will look like. For some reason, the seller geo farm didn't load in for me, but I can show you at a later date what those look like when it loads properly. But for sale by owner, so we've got cards that are preloaded. It's going to have your return name that's going to show up here, your return phone number, and there's a front and a back to each of these. But it just basically lays out the card. You just go in and you'd show them how you could save thousands with your X total fee. So some agents like to do a discount on these, some don't. But all of this stuff in here is actually super simple to edit and modify, and you do that under the particular projects itself. So I feel that with this actually laying out all of your mailers that you would need to do, you can see that this works. So it's going to send this one immediately. And these are actually going to send every 7 days. And that's how they have it initially set up. I extend these out to 30 days. So that way you have one that goes out every single month to them. So that way it's not super invasive and you're not spending all of your mailer money all in one go. But that definitely is a game changer and can drastically help with those. So we can show you a little bit more of that platform if you'd like at a later time. What I'd like to do though is actually have you share your screen, then we can dive into your KB core and take a look at the back end there and see what we can help you quickly set up.
Okay, so those mailers, it's like a monthly membership plus 78 cents. And then plus the
It
shipping.
was 54 cents per postcard, and that includes shipping. So that is if you
Oh,
want to go with the larger postcards. The 4x6s actually come free, and it's 19 cents to ship. So the 4x6s are just 19 cents to ship the 4x6s. We recommend the 5x8.5 because it does see better results. It's a bigger postcard, but it's 54
yeah.
cents to mail it or ship. So when we've looked at all the different platforms out there, we've got a lot of folks that really like the what's it called? It's the felt. It's not, is it felt? It's the one that actually does handwritten cards. But those come in at about 86 cents per card that's sent out, and there's a monthly membership there as well. So as
I
far as like
see.
looking high and low, there's a ton of stuff pre-built in here for real estate. There's a couple of really big folks in the community, in the real estate community, that do well with direct mailers. Brennan Mulrennan, Kelly Wheeler, both do a live course, or excuse me, a university inside of Mailbox Power for agents to dominate with direct mail. And those two particular gentlemen have generated a large amount of their business and their influence to real estate from that. So what we're taking a look at here, I can see we've got your smart list, and we're seeing contacts. We've got Ruth Lopez. So I love those hashtags, the 22 500 to 600. and looking to move within the next 6 to 12 months, that's awesome. That gives some great info out of the gate. So that is going to automatically have follow-up that's built into it. Now, if you could hover over the little paper airplane for me on the left side of the screen, and if we could go into smart campaigns from here. All right, now, one thing I want you to take a look at. So we've got that BKA buyer campaign that's currently running. And one of the things we'll look at, we'll click into there really fast. So we've got those 16 touch points that are going to go out from there, and those are texts and emails. If we scroll down, I think it's going to be on, let's check out the BKA buyer 05. Actually, it might be 9 or 11. One of these has a is asking them if they would like to see a list of open houses. And so I want to show you how you can create a link for that and send out that list of open houses.
That would be great. Because I actually have had that. Yes, I would love a list. And unfortunately, you know, their price range was between 100,000 and 200,000. I'm like, there's nothing for that.
Sorry, we can't do anything for you.
Yeah. So you want me to open these up? Okay.
Yeah, let's start on 5 and move our way down. I don't remember exactly. See any of the listings I've sent you? Let me know if okay. Let's scroll down to the next one.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and open up buyer 6.
Oh, buyer 6. Okay.
All right. Assume that you're finding the list. Okay, let's open 7. Not sure if you're around on the weekends, but I have a list of open houses for homes you're interested in that I can always send you. Can I text that to you? So we get a lot of responses from this message. And so here's a big thing with this is that when you create this link that you can send out to them, KV Core doesn't give you a placeholder for your links. So you're technically creating an individual landing page for this search, but they don't save it. So one of the things I recommend is either use Google Sheets or use an Excel spreadsheet. So that way you can save all of these in one place. So if you just open a new tab for me really quick and type in Google Sheets, just like the sheets you have on your bed, it'll open up. And where it says, ooh, that I don't think that is actually Google. Let's scroll down. Google Sheets right there. So let's go into that. And you should be able to just log in with your regular Google. So if you click go to Sheets right there, that'll bring you in. Now let's go ahead and just click plus. So let's start with a blank sheet.
That
one right there. Perfect. All right, so for column A, let's just go ahead and say, landing page type for 1A. And then let's go ahead and expand that A column so that it fits everything in it. It always drives me nuts if it's not. In column B, let's just say URL. And then at the top where it says untitled spreadsheet, let's name this KV Core Quick Links. Awesome. And then let's jump back into KV Core. And on the left side of the screen, let's go ahead and let's keep going down on the left side of the screen. Let's look at, so where it said lead engine, it's that circle with the 3 dots coming off of it. Go ahead and click on that. All right, and see how we have IDX squeeze page. So go ahead and click on that, and let's select your domain there. And then let's click start building. All right, so now what you can do, first and foremost, add in a location. I recommend to do this based on your county. That way you can show every home that's available in the marketplace. and it should populate pretty soon here. Actually, if you just go back to Ventura, it may populate the county. There we go. So the county populated just below. So if you click on that top one right there. Awesome. All right, now let's go ahead and scroll down. Let's click on listing types. And let's scroll down to open houses.
They're not in alphabetical order, huh? Let me see.
Oh, we might have to do single family on this one. It's been a little while since I've been in KV Core. So I think it's single family, and then you can go to style. And was style where open house was? I don't think it was under style. It's under one of these. I hope they didn't update it. Oh, options, maybe under options at the bottom. Walkable, newly built, just listed,
Yep.
open house. There we go. So one of the things you could also do is you could create this based off of beds, baths, price range, all that kind of stuff, and have it saved in your sheet so that you know this is for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, this price range. Or you could do it just based off of price range. I say leave it open because there may be a house that they reach out on that they wouldn't have otherwise seen if you had their search criteria narrowed down. So what we can do is go ahead and scroll back up, and on the right side of the screen, what we're going to do is for your source, you can go ahead and just say current lead. So that way, you know that it didn't come from anything new. And then if you'd like to add any particular hashtags, you can at this point in time. So one of the things that I would do is maybe add in an open house hashtag, open house list. I would type in open house list, make that a particular hashtag. So that way, anybody that has come to this landing page, you know they viewed the landing page after you sent it to them. So you can add open house list onto this. So that way we've got the hashtag once they hit this landing page.
Open house list.
Yep. And then I would just.
Do I have to add that hashtag to the current customers, the hashtags?
So this will automatically do that for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you go ahead, you can either press enter, but what I do is actually click on that. Yes, perfect. And then for Facebook cover photo. So this is going to be the SEO image that gets sent through if you're sending this link as a text or if you're posting it on social. So if we click the drop down on this, we want to select use recent listing from your agency, even if outside search results. Right. So that will actually populate an image of listings that will be there, and it's going to be even if it's not yours. Make sure that in your market, I'm pretty sure you've got nothing to worry about. Yeah, no, you should be totally fine with that because it's just EXP listings that are going to be displayed.
Right.
So it's going to, the property value or property views allowed before registration. So it's going to do 2 views and then it's going to request registration. They're more than likely going to register with their Facebook. You already have their info. It's totally fine. So now all we have to do is just scroll down and click generate link. So you have a short link and you have a long link. I very much recommend the short links because it's just nice to have a short link. But what I would do is you can grab the short link, add that to the URL in your KV Core spreadsheet that you have. And now
this
anytime,
one?
Yep. And so what you'll do here is you'll say open house list for landing page type. And then under URL, we'll just go ahead and add in that URL. And then if you can make the B column, yeah, there we go. Awesome. So now anytime you have somebody that reaches out to you, you can access this on your phone while you're on the go. You just download Google Docs on your phone, and then you can open this up, copy the link, and then you can paste it back into KV Core and send it back as a text message. So
can I just go ahead and add this link to the response on let me see, hold on. Oops.
I think you just minimized it. It should be okay.
Yeah, it's the bar is up there. So let me see.
So the big thing on this is we want them to respond to that text message before we send it out to them, because it's creating the interaction and starting
Oh,
the dialogue. So
okay.
what I would recommend is once they reply to you, jump into that Google Sheets on your phone, go ahead and copy the link and just paste it into the text message and send it right back through KV Core. Awesome. Here's the list. Let me know if you find any homes that you'd like to go and see. I'd be happy to take you on a tour. Right. So that
Mhm.
way, okay, awesome. I'll definitely let you know. And that'll increase your likelihood of being able to continue that conversation with that lead, because you're giving them exactly what they're looking for. So that's a big one. Now, I do also want to talk about something else, though. If we can hop back into regular campaigns outside of this Be Known advertising campaign. So that was the primary one that I wanted to jump into, but I also wanted to show you the library that KV Core has. And it looks like you've got the express offers loaded in from Make It Rain. You've also got the conversion default buyer ad that is loaded in as well. But there are some really powerful campaigns that KV Core has. One of them has 42 touches on that buyer follow-up. So if you actually scroll up on your page, the top, there should be My Campaigns, KV Core Library, and Templates. So let's go to the library. So now what you can do is it's going to load all the different templates or all the different campaigns that KV Core has preloaded into it that you can utilize. So you've got that nosy neighbor prospect to conversation. So that's all you have to do if you want to leverage or check any of these out is click the add to my library on the right side of the screen, and it will load that particular follow-up campaign right into your KV Core so that you can do what you just did. Go through and click edit and view the text, view the emails, view all of the messaging, the correspondence that's going out. Now, one of the things that you'll also notice is that it has the connect call feature. Have you used that yet with KV Core?
I have.
Awesome. So basically it just calls you, you press 1, it calls the lead, gives you an opportunity to get them on the phone where you may not have had time to call them before, or if you're on the run. But there's another campaign. If we scroll down, I believe it's got 42 or 40 some odd touch points. And I've always liked that campaign, 43. So that one. So it's the
The
default
new
new
lead
buyer lead.
buyer. Hmm.
Yep. And so if you click add to my library on there, there's several text messages and emails in there that I really like. There's a couple that discuss, well, are you looking for new construction? Are you looking? So it's trying to probe and prod and ask different questions to what those individuals are looking for. And then I'd also pull, say, the default seller campaign. Wait, no, that one's just going to be tasks. Let me see what else. Default prospect homeowner. That's a good one. So I'd add that one. And let's scroll down a little bit more. All right, so we've got contract seller, default closed, active renter. They've added a lot of new campaigns. I like that. Seller prospect expired. I dig that. Let's go ahead and add the expired into there as well. Now, if you ever have a lead source that provides you with expired listings, the very first thing I recommend you do is check the MLS to see if they've relisted.
Yeah.
We've had some agents in our program that have automatically sent out mailers and things along those lines to expireds, and the agent relisted it within a couple of hours of it going expired. So we don't like to see our agents waste any of their ad dollars or revenue or
That's
time
right.
on those unless you know for a fact that it's expired. And so that's about what I would pull out of these. And then you can actually go back into my campaigns now, and you can see that you have all of those loaded. So if we click on that default new buyer lead or new lead buyer
Uh-huh.
and just click into it, you'll be able to view all of the different texts and emails and everything else that is going on in there. And so the very first thing that's going to happen is it's going to tell you to send a text, new lead, send them a text. And so this is requiring or asking you to send a personalized text. Send a text or an email with properties in their area. Do you know how to send that list of properties?
Yeah, there's a link.
And the little button on their contact record. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the first one. So it's asking you to go ahead and send that out. If we scroll down though on the list.
And this is the little message that they get, send a text.
So this is the message that you would receive. So this is a task that gets added to you, and it's
Oh,
asking you
oh,
to send that initial text message. So that way you can send them properties that fit the bill for their location, what they're looking for, anything along those lines. KV
yes,
Core asks you
okay.
to send a manual text. But
Oh,
if we
I see. This is the task for me. Okay.
So if you wanted to edit or remove this, you could edit it simply by changing the text that's in the box for what this task is going to be. Or you can click the remove in the top right corner and actually remove this from the campaign altogether if you wanted
Mhm.
to. Then it's going to ask you to call and leave a voicemail to that lead. And that call that is set up there is the call connect. So it's going to call you. As soon as that lead comes in, you're going to press 1 and it's going to dial out to that lead. After
Yeah, because
7
I think I have an issue. I don't know what's happening is that I know KV Core is calling me and I answer it. I press 1 because I can tell, press any key, whatever, but then it hangs up on me every single time. So I don't know what's happening.
what I would do in that case, that little chat bubble that you've got in the bottom right corner, I would click
Yeah.
on that and I would say, hey, I'm having an issue. Every time the call connect feature comes through and I go to press 1, I don't get I don't get connected. It just disconnects. Can you give me a hand with this? And then they'll actually open up a support ticket and their dev team will get on it and give you a hand. So it's something that they will fix quickly for you. I've seen the issue once
Oh,
or
okay.
twice, but that is your best way to handle any kind of discrepancy or issue that you have with KV Core. And one little trick, if they ever say, oh, well, if they ever say, oh, well, that's not something that I can do, I'm going to have to put in a ticket. I always use, well, an agent in my office actually told me to go through the chat because they were able to get this fixed through the chat the other day. And then they'll go,
Okay.
okay, crap, I do need to help this person out. So
They called me on it. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they get enough tickets and they have too many things going on that's customer support, they'll brush you off to a support ticket. So if you're just adamant with them and you let them know, hey, another agent in my office just told me this is how they fixed it, you're gonna go, oh crap, okay, I need to spend the time with
Okay.
this person and actually do it. So so that's a good little tip and trick for them. But what you can do is you can
Yeah.
go through these and you can view all of the different texts and emails and all of the messaging that goes out. And this way you can decide which particular campaign is really going to work best for you, depending on where that lead source came from. Now, another thing in here is that the follow-up, the portion of your follow-up doesn't necessarily have to be a text, an email, or a phone call from KV Core. There's a thing called webhooks. And basically what that means, it takes data from KV Core and it can move it wherever you want to move it to. If there's ever anything like that that you want to get set up, join us on either Monday, Wednesday, or Friday for our support hours. We do them Monday and Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. And on Wednesdays, we do them at 10 a.m. I'm on the Wednesday call. So I take the Wednesday morning and the live training on Wednesday, and William handles Monday and Friday. We'll be able to actually help walk you through and get that all set up. And we can actually build it in our Zapier so you don't have to incur another cost and it doesn't cost you anything. So we can set up a connection for you if you were to pick up a platform like Mailbox Power or thanks.io to send postcards. We can have the postcard mailer be an automatic part of your campaign in KV Core. So we can make life really easy on that front if you're focused on the seller side. But what I'd recommend you do is go through all of these different campaigns that we just pulled in, read the text, the emails, and see which ones you really, really like. And I would recommend implementing these on the seller side. There also may be in the actual KV Core library, I believe there's also like a re-nurture campaign or a long-term nurture campaign.
I saw the 1 year, nurture.
What I would do with that is I would take that 1 year nurture campaign at the very top, if we scroll up, you're going to see how you trigger those campaigns. So we can see at the top,
Yeah.
this is a non-active campaign. So actually where it says new default buyer lead, if we hit edit on that, so where that edit button is right there, you can actually say this is based off of a new lead or whether a tag is. So what I do is say hashtag is, and I would make a hashtag for re-nurture or re-engage, something along those lines. And then I would take your entire database of old leads and I would add that re-engage or nurture, whichever hashtag you selected, to that list. And it's automatically going to get them on that nurture campaign, that long-term nurture, and it will start sending out those drips.
And so one by one, I add that hashtag, or how do I add that to that old list?
So if let's start here. So what you do is you say hashtag is, and once you click on that, you should have a box that opens, and you can either create a hashtag now. So you could say re-engage or nurture, whatever hashtag you wanted to add. You could add that here and save it.
Okay.
All
Oh,
right.
I spelled it wrong.
That's okay. And this isn't the campaign that we want to use for that
Nurture.
long-term nurture, because this isn't the nurture campaign. So actually, let's exit out of this and let's actually install the nurture campaign and use that one so we aren't triggering the wrong thing. Yes, we are sure. So let's go to all my campaigns at the top. Let's go back into KV Core library. And let's look for nurture. So campaign, buyer campaign, nurture. So we can click add to my library. And let's go back to my campaigns. And then we'll scroll down to that and click in right there. Now we'll go back up to edit, and then we'll add the nurture tag to this. So tag is perfect. And go ahead and click. There we go. And let's scroll down and save, click next. All right, we want this to be focused on buyers, correct? Because it's the buyer campaign. So let's go ahead and select next. And go ahead and click next. And finish. So then what we would do is we need to make sure the campaign is active. So the middle box in the top, there's a little toggle switch next to campaign active. Go ahead and turn that on and click yes. All right, now we're going to go back to the Smart CRM. So on the left side of the screen, we'll go up. It's not Smart Campaigns, but the Smart CRM itself.
Oh.
All contacts.
Oh,
They changed the name. It used to be Smart CRM, so they changed the name on that. Throwing me off. And so what we would do is we've got the filters here. So all of the leads that came from us are under BKA buyer lead. So when you imported your leads from your database, it should have an import for the source. So let's actually scroll through your let's go through your database. On the right side of the screen, let's go to actually make the rows as many as we can. So where it says 50 rows, let's go ahead and click that drop down and let's see what the maximum is we can do. I think it's 250 or maybe 100. Yeah, 250. So let's go ahead and scroll down as far as we can. And I want to see what the actual source was for the 806.
Yeah, it was a long one.
Z buyer cash offer. Let's go next. So it should have an import somewhere listed for that particular import if it was an import.
I mean, I can pull one up and we can see it. See, it just says import.
Yeah, can we copy that tag?
How do we copy it?
I think we'd actually have to be on the last screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you should be able to copy it from where it was commented. So if you copy
Oh,
from
I
there,
see.
and now what we'll do is
Okay.
go into the filters, and we'll say filter is select a tag. And so on the left side, we'll scroll down. So we've got sphere, new lead prospect, contact details. Expand that. And then we can scroll down and paste the tag in there. And then we'll click on the one that populates below, right there in the box. Perfect. Scroll down and you can go ahead and click apply filters. And scroll back up to the top. So it's still 806 total, but there's going to be a breakdown here. Okay, so we've got 3 pages, 250 rows. So now what we can do, that box next to first name, you can go ahead and check that box. And then you can go to more actions just above. So you see mass text, video message, and then more actions. We can
Yeah,
click
and
more
some of these
actions.
are sellers
Yep.
and some of them
So we
are
would actually,
vendors.
we
So
would
should
actually
I?
want to separate that out. So I would actually scroll down. Oh, I would check the box for buyer on contact details, and I would see if first that weeds out, because they may be listed just based off of tags. But let's see if they actually came in listed as buyers or sellers.
So now we're 2 pages, 250 rows.
It looks like that has market report on it as well. Is that something that you were sending out for buyers in the past, or it's got market and report?
Yeah, unless they're also a seller
Okay.
somewhere. That's weird.
Well, these are all listed
Yeah,
as
these are
buyers, but
different
some
from.
are listed as sellers. So let's actually, on the left side, let's go ahead and select the buyer. Let's select a buyer as well for tag. So let's scroll back down to our filters and let's add a second tag and type in buyer under hashtags.
Oh, that's weird. Remove that.
And buyer right there. Awesome. And then for that or, can we click a drop down on that or? Can it be an and? Awesome. Now let's go ahead and click filter or apply filters. So now we know that all of these folks are going to be buyers. At least that's how it was listed in the previous database. We still have two pages, but now you can click that top check box next to first name. We can go to more actions in the drop down, and then we can add hashtags. And then if you add your nurture hashtag, it's automatically going to get all of them into that campaign because it's live and it's running. So now this is going to start that long-term nurture drip once all of the tags are applied. And it'll take a couple minutes for all the tags to apply because there's about 500 records in there. So it'll take some time for that to all load. But this will put all of those folks on that drip campaign so that you can have that constant follow-up with them. So I feel that should be a pretty good place for us to stop today. We actually went, well, I started about 10 minutes late, so we went about 15 minutes over on what live training typically is. Do you have any other questions on KV Core before we end our session today?
I have a million, but I'm going to leave it at this too. I'm going to just focus on what we talked about for now, and I'll have to put you in my calendar for next week.
Sounds good.
And we'll see
also,
how we're going.
If you go into your on the left side of the screen where the lead engine was, where we created those landing pages, you can create landing pages for any type of search that you would like to have quickly, readily available to send out to your clients. So if you want to send out a just listed, like homes that were just listed to folks, be able to just view just listed properties, you can create that in the system. But once you go ahead and create one of these landing pages, just note that they do not save your URL anywhere. So before you click out of the page, take that URL and post it into your spreadsheet. That way you have a saving place for it. So,
Right. Okay. And it's always this IDX squeeze page.
yep. So you can do either IDX squeeze page, that's for your particular search criteria that you want to focus on. Or if you're doing an individual landing page, you could do a home valuation, you could do rent to own. There's a ton of different options that you could use for those, for the individual landing pages. Those just they require you to make some edits to them before you save it and send it out. But this way you at least have a really good start, and you can get things rocking and rolling for all the different types of property search lists that you'd like to send out to your clients. So I think you'll have fun with that.
I think I'm going to practice. Yeah. And have that. I mean, yeah, that does make my life a little bit easier, and, you know, make it appear that I'm on top of it without having to do all this work after every request, right? I don't want to do that.
That's right. Well, it's super easy. If you save all the quick links, you just know where it is, you copy it, you paste it, you send it off, you're good to go. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's live training. Sonia, I really hope that you enjoyed today's session, and that you join us next week as well, so that we can focus on more tips and tricks to help you guys go and crush business and sell more homes. So
Yes, thank you. So at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday.
That's correct.
Okay.
We usually have a much larger crowd, but I'll make sure we
Yeah.
get the text message out early next week so we have a lot more folks on.
Great.